Great. So in the yesterday's class we were talking about the first topic we started with is nothing but a shebang. Okay, so what is a shebang is nothing but a hash followed with exclamator is called a shebang, and what it does is it denotes the path of interpreter. And the interpreter which we are going to talk about in our classes is bash interpreter, which is nothing but a bash shell. So and hence I am giving the complete path of that particular bash shell. So and also I talked about a couple of points over there. So it has to be in the first and foremost line. Okay, so if you put it in the second line, it will be treated as a comment. Okay, so we talked about that one yesterday. But after that, we talked about printing something on the screen. So how do you print something on the screen is by using echo command, and with the echo command, whatever the input you provide, it provides on the you get it on the output screen. Okay, so that is what this particular script tells you. So script 2.sh. So here I have two echo commands. So I have mentioned in my script. So if you execute that particular two scripts, that particular second script, you'll get the two lines getting printed because we are using two echo commands over there. Okay, now so this is the simple echo command. Okay, but let's see an example. So echo star. So what is the purpose of this particular or before talking this one, we'll talk it in another way. Okay, so every command, so echo is a command here. Okay, so you need to understand one thing, or you need to understand this particular statement very carefully, so that your complete scripting is going to be easy. Or it's not only the scripting, the basic usage of Linux you need to understand. How the basic usage of Linux commands is, you'll be having a command. So I'll call it as command name. It can be ls command, can be cat command, can be fdisk, whatever the commands you use in your day-to-day job. Okay, the command name, and it may have options or it may not have options. It may have options or it may not have options. This is the standard syntax you need to understand. Okay, and also you may have input or you may not have input. So these are optional actually. Whereas a command is a mandatory to execute, but this particular command may have options or may not have option, or may have input or does not have any input. But you need to understand this. Okay, the first one you are using is a command. The first one, and you are giving space, means the first one is a command. Okay, so why I'm stressing this particular point is, so we are going to talk about a couple of other classes also. We are going to, in each and every class almost, I'll touch this particular syntax. Okay, so this is very important. And if you really understand that particular one, so using a Linux and a Unix operating system is not a big deal in the command line. The first one is a command. It may have options or it may not have options. And the next one, you may have inputs or may not have inputs. You take ls command, example as ls command. So ls command, it is working. ls-l, an option you are giving, it is working. So ls is a command and -l is an option. And also you can give something like a directory also, ls input. Okay, so of course it is a directory, but it is an input to the ls command, so which is /boot. So your command is having both options and inputs. Or else if you would like to give only input, yes, it works. Okay, so your ls command is working in all the phases. It is working individually, it is working with an option, it is working with an input, or it combinedly both with an option and an input is working. It works with the same way for all the commands. Okay, so here we are talking about an echo command. The echo command may, okay, will have inputs to print something on the output screen, and also it has some options. So what are the options we are going to talk about is, we are going to talk about two options, so which is -e and -n. What is -e is nothing but enable escape sequence. What is -e is nothing but enabling escape sequence. So what is the purpose of this particular escape sequence is to print a new line. For example, to print a new tab, okay, or else to print a new color, we are going to use these escape sequences. To print a new line, or to get a new tab, or to get a new color, we are going to use the escape sequences. Let's talk about new line so that you'll clearly understand what is the purpose of these particular escape sequences. Now, at least you understand a situation that, okay, I want hi, and or let me write like this. I want something on the screen. Okay, what is the output I am expecting is, let's say, hi and bye. Means hi has to be printed on the first line and bye has to be printed on second line. Now, so how can we do that? So if I go with a script, you can do you can do that one with two echo commands. So you give echo hi and then you give echo bye. It is going to work. Assume you have a 10 lines to be printed or 100 lines to be printed. What you need to do, or assume that it is a single word. Okay, so how can you print this? By going with 100 echo commands. Okay, so your code is going to get very big, actually very complex, which is not an accepted scenario. Okay, so to print only something, you're using 100 echo commands. Number of commands means increasing, number of process also will increase. I told you already, might be in the first class I have told you. So what you are going to put it in a shell script is nothing but a command. Every command will get a process ID. Every command will get a process ID. So to create a process ID, your kernel is going to consume certain amount of CPU and certain amount of memory for each and every process, right? So you're continuously making system busy to create process, close the process, create the process, close the process. So you're making your system busy. Okay, so just to avoid such situations, our echo command doesn't consume much, but at least, okay, so a best code can be calculated with how many number of less commands you used, right? So best code can be considered based on as less number of commands you have used for the same to achieve the same requirement. One guy may use 20 commands to get the job done. The other guy has done it within 10 to 15 commands. We'll consider the best code is 10 to 15 lines only. Why? Because the requirement is getting done. Of course, that is our requirement. Along with that, okay, you are reducing the number of process, which is going to reduce the load on the server, which is going to be the efficiency, more efficiency, and which is going to, as the process number also got reduced, your total execution time also get reduced. Okay, so all these things comes into the picture whenever you're writing a very big script. But as of now, okay, so we're just talking about an echo command to get multiple lined output in single echo command. So how can I do that is, I can go with echo, so hi, and after that I want to print a new line, so I'm going to use an escape sequence which is /n. So immediately the output goes to the next line, and then I want to print bye. That's all. Okay, so you enter. Are we getting that? No. Why? I have specifically written /n/t/e inside -e option. So you take ls command, you're getting a list, that's fine. But if you want to get a long list, I have to use an option -l. So without -l, can I get the long list? No, I cannot get. The same with echo command here. So echo command, you are using hi/n bye, but that particular /n will be treated as an escape sequence whenever you enable an option -e. Okay, are we getting it? No, still we are not getting it. Why? Because, okay, so I just need to write a point here. So what is the point going to be? Whenever you are using -e option in echo command, okay, so always provide the input in double quotes. So you have single quotes, you have double quotes. So we already have a quotes actually concept here. Okay, so where is that? Yeah, here you have quotes. So here we're going to talk about single quote, double quotes, what is going to happen without quotes, right? So we're going to talk about that, but as of now, this is a, okay, so little important point you need to remember that whenever you are using -e option with echo command, always provide the input with double quotes. Okay, now what is the statement is telling? The input needs to be in double quotes. So I'm going to use double quotes. So what happened? So all of a sudden, like a magic, I got the output. Okay, so what happened behind the scenes? One second. Yeah, sorry guys. So here, so all of a sudden, okay, like a magic, you are getting the output. Now what is happening, okay, behind the scenes, we'll talk about in the coming classes, but as of now, to make use of this particular escape sequence, always go with double quotes. So in this particular situation, you can get it with single quotes also, okay, in this particular situation, but not always. Of course, will why all not always, we'll talk about in the quotes class, but as of now, always provide the input in double quotes. That's all. Okay, so now what is the another escape sequence we have is, we have an escape sequence which is /t. So /t stands for tab space. So even in your notepad or V editor, whenever you type a tab space, it gives a tab space, right? So which is nothing but a 4 spaces length. You are going to get it by default. So that particular length you are going to get it as a tab space on the output screen. So these are the general options which we usually use. Okay, so if you go with man space echo, you can see more options. See what we're talking about is, we're talking about /n new line and /t horizontal tab. Okay, so these are the regularly used options, whereas you can use all those options based on your requirement, but you never use those options, doesn't require. As I already told you, the two options which we are going to talk about is /n and hyphen n and hyphen e, and whereas hyphen capital E also is there, but it is a default option, which by default it works that way, so you no need to use that particular option. Now, so also you can see here, okay, if hyphen E is in effect, means that the option is enabled, the following sequences are recognized. The following sequences are recognized. Okay. Now the next one you have is, okay, so getting colors, right? Getting some colors. So you go with ls/boot. See, you can see here a lot of colors. Okay, if it is a directory, you're getting a blue color. If it is an executable file, you're getting green color, right? If it is some other file, okay, so you are getting in red color. So a lot of colors you are getting. While printing your message, if you would like to print it in your own color, not own color, some colors which are there in the system, if you want to use those colors to print, okay, so how do you do that? Now you should get a doubt, where can you use that? Yes, you can use with a lot of situations where let's say you're printing a lot of lines. Out of those lines, if you think that, okay, this message should be noticed by the user, so I'll highlight that particular lines with a certain color. If it is a warning message, I'll give it in a red color, so the user will get some attraction with to that particular line. So something like this. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of files, but if my intention is to look into a directories, I immediately look into a blue color, like that. Okay, so if you're trying to print something which is a warning message, I myself preferably use red color. If you feel some other color is preferable for you can use that particular color too. Now, what are the colors you have here? What are the colors you have here in your system? So to get the color information, you have a man page. So console underscore codes. You have a man page which is console underscore codes. So this is going to help you in understanding the colors. So there are only 6 colors available in the system. Okay, and those 6 colors numbers are these. Okay, red, green. Okay, so it is actually yellow, and blue, magenta, and cyan. You are going to get 6 colors, whereas black and white are common always. In a terminal, black and white is always common. Either you have black background, white foreground, or white background, black foreground. Okay, foreground means font. Okay, so the colors whatever you see over here is also 2 types. So what are the 2 types of colors? One is foreground color. What is the foreground color? Black is the foreground color here. Black is the font color, that is the foreground. And what is the background? My white is my background. So the colors is of 2 types. The color is of 2 types. So one is FG and another one is BG. 2 colors we have. And what all the colors you usually have is, we have red, green, yellow, blue, magenta, and cyan. So these are the colors you have. Out of these, okay, so if you would like to get a red color, so what you do, which is a foreground color. Okay, so what I am going to do is 31. So 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So these are the colors to use to get a foreground color. Whereas to get a background color, so 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and 46. So where do you get this particular information? By referring a man page, which is man space console underscore codes is going to give you that particular information. So colors. So red means foreground color I use 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Okay, like this. And to get a background color, so it starts from 41. So if you want to have a black color to be printed, so you'll go with 30, 40. And the same way, if you would like to print a white color, so these are all defaults actually. You don't print usually these colors. So assume if your background is some other color you are using other than black and white, so these colors can be useful. Okay, so here it is 37 and 47. Now how to use these particular colors with the /e option. Okay, so if I want to print something on a color, I have to go with -e option as we already talked about. So -e option is used to enable the colors, and -e option to enable the escape sequence, and /e is to enable the colors, and open the square bracket. So you have to use color code. What is the color code? These are the codes 30 or 40, 31 or 41. So you have to use those codes, and you have to use yum to end the syntax. It's not like closing the square bracket. It is yum, which is nothing but to close the syntax, and then your message, and then your input. So if by seeing combinedly it is going to be confused for you, so just that reason I'm just breaking it, but there are no spaces. Okay, I'm just breaking it for you. Okay, so /e and open the square bracket, or let me put like this, underscore, so no spaces. Okay, so /e to enable the color, and open the square bracket, your color code, whatever the color you want to print, and your color code end with yum. and then immediately your input message. So if I want to print something, so let's say echo -e. So double quotes is mandatory whenever you go with -e option, as I already told you. And open the square bracket. I want to print it in red color, so 31M, and then immediately I have given, let's say, hello world. Okay. Okay, so what you are getting the output on the screen, but the color you are getting is red color. So, and if you are using 32, you are going to get green. So 33 yellow, but in the man page it is written as brown color. Actually that's wrong, it's an yellow, and man pages are old, might be. So 34, 35, this is magenta, and final color is 36, which is nothing but cyan. Okay, so if you want to print it in a black color, so what I would be using 30, so I got black color back. Okay, so this is how you get the colors. And whereas the same thing, if I want to get it in background colors, so now I'm going to use 41, so you're getting a background color, and 42 you're getting a green background, so 43, so yellow background, so 44, and 45, and 46 finally. Finally, if you want to get a white background, which is nothing but a 47 back again. Okay, so I'm just resetting the colors. To reset the colors, I'll just simply give 0M. So it is going to reset my colors, everything. So you can see in the man pages clearly that so you are using a particular number to get a color, whereas if you use 0, it reset all attributes to their defaults. Okay, so I used 0 here so that my colors, everything got resetted. Okay, so that is how happened. So this is about getting something colors. Now you'll be having certain situation. Let me go to /dev directory, and if you give ls, so here can you see something? You are getting a black background and yellow foreground. So you are getting combining both things. If you would like to have a custom background and custom foreground, okay, so that is the same syntax is going to help you, but it in a different format. So how it is going to be is, so the first one is foreground color. Let's say I want 31, which is nothing but red foreground, or 33 yellow foreground, and what I want is black background. So to get a black background, what I need to use 40. So you got the same thing, however you got it over here. Okay, so here the characters are little bold actually. Okay, you can print a bold characters by using 1 semicolon. Okay, so if I use 1, actually you can clearly observe, you may observe or you may not observe, but it actually it's bolded, it is little bright than these. Okay, so how do you come to know whether to use 1 or not? So the same man page will tell you back again. So 1 is to set bold, 2 is to set half bright. Okay, so like this, to get a blinked characters you use 5, to get an underscore you use 4. All those things you have. Okay, you have those in the book which I am going to provide you. Okay, so you can just refer those for practicals, but as of now, so this is about echo command. So what we talked about in echo command? So echo command, we just seen whatever the input you give, it provides on the output screen, and then you are going to have okay, an options to the echo command, which is -e and -n. So we'll just talk about -n. But in -e option, you have three escape sequence we talked about, which is /n, /t, and /e. One is for new line, new tab, and new color. And these are all the colors. So how do you get those colors? This is the syntax, and this is about echo command. And if you have any questions, you can just put through, or else we'll continue. Okay, assuming no questions, fine. So the next option you have with -n is, okay, so here if you want to reset these colors, what you need to do, you need to use 0m, that's all. Okay, now whereas if you want to enable the color and you want to disable it after your printing is done, okay, so something like this. So again enable the color at the end and give 0m. So this is going to purely print your text in the color and you disable the color. So this part is to enable the color, this part is to disable the color, and this part is to print your input. Okay, like this. Now, so, and another thing, the another option we have is echo high. So whatever I have given input, it is printing, but also you need to understand that it always ends with new line. It is always ending with a new line. So I didn't told echo command to end with new line, but it is ending by its own. Okay, to disable that particular feature, I go with -n option. So the text is printed, but it has not ended with a new line. So where do you use such options are nothing but we'll talk about in the coming classes. Yes, we do use such options. So in certain scenarios, I'll show you the scenarios in the coming classes. But as of now, so the echo command is having those two options. So this is nothing but to disable new lines. Now, so the next one, whatever we have, syllabus is redirectors. Okay, so a couple of basic things we are going to talk about here. Okay, so but in a little in-depth manner. Okay, so the next one we are going to have is redirectors. Okay, so what are redirectors? Okay, what is that? Yeah. So you have redirectors. So shell redirectors, you might be aware of one redirector which is, okay, so greater than symbol. Some other time you have used that particular. But okay, so that redirectors which you have is, okay, so let me tell you like this, in this way. How do I take the input to the system and where do I get the output of the system? Okay, let me write like this: input, output. Now, how do you provide the input to the system? So how do I provide the input to the system? I'll provide through keyboard. So keyboard is the basic device to provide the input to the system. That I think you are clear. Now, where do I get the output? On the terminal. Okay, on the terminal. So this is my putty terminal, I am getting it. Or else if you log into the system with a monitor connected, or if it is a virtual machine where you open the console, so the terminal or the console where you are going to get the output. So these are the default things. Okay, so the standard input to the system is keyboard, standard output of the system is terminal. Whereas if you would like to replace both the things with a file, now you are going to take the input with a file and you are going to get the output to a file. So this is going to where you are going to take the input with a file, and instead of so the terminal it is going to get outside. And whereas the input, so by default it is this one, and the output it is a file. So these are the default things. If you would like to replace both the things, the input with a file and output to a file, okay, so you go with redirector. So what are the two redirectors we are going to talk about is input and output. Now, so the two inputs are standard input and standard output. Okay, so let's talk about the input redirectors. The input redirector is less than symbol. Okay, the less than symbol denotes the input redirector. This particular input redirector, where it can be helpful is, let me show you an example with mail command. I'll take a mail command. What is the purpose of mail command is to see the emails as well as to send the emails also. I'm going to use a same mail command. To send an email, what are the things you require is, you require a to address, you require what is the subject you want to put it, and then the message of the body, right? Now, the same thing, mail. So if I would like to send a subject, so hyphen yes, mail 1, so that is my subject. Okay, so just for understanding, and to whom I want to send, so I want to send to the same user, SB48 @ localhost, means same server. In the same server, localhost means same server. In the same server, I am using the same user because I logged in as SB48 only. So SB48 @ localhost, and then if I press enter, there my message starts. And once after my message is completed, I just have to give dot enter, it takes the input and it sends the email. Now how do I check the email? So mail enter. So you can see here I got the email with the subject is mail 1, and if you give 1 enter, so you can see what are the message you have used. You need to understand one thing here. This particular message has been taken through my keyboard. This is a command. Commands anyhow has to be taken through my keyboard, or else if I put this particular command in a script, my script will execute this one. But this input has to be given through my keyboard only, even though the command you put it in the script, or the command you execute, while you run manually on the terminal. Okay, now you take a situation that, okay, so where you need to send an emails. Okay, in the real-time scenarios, people sends an email to the users, okay, or from the system users receive the email. So by running some cron job about a certain status, or about doing some job letting know the status, okay, so something you'll receive an email. So how do you send an email automatically with some status? Okay, so how can you send is nothing but what we are going to do is, what are the message we want to publish, we'll put those particular message in a file and we take that particular file as an input. So how do you take the file as an input is nothing but, that is what we are talking about, which is nothing but a standard input redirector. So now here, now I'm going to use the mail command now. So mail, let me use as mail 2. Okay, so the same thing, SB48 @ localhost, and I'm going to use the input redirector and the file name. Okay, the file is not available, let me create the file. So I'm going to create a file with message. So hello, how are you? Okay, I'll just save and quit, and I'm going to use this particular message file. So now didn't ask you anything, but mail requires an input, and where it has been taken is, it has taken from the file message. If I give mail enter, so you can see a mail 2 has came to my inbox, and if you see to enter, so you can see the same content whatever you have in that particular file has been loaded as message body and mail has been sent. So how this particular content has been given to the mail command is, your shell is taking care of taking that particular content from that particular file, and it is giving to the mail command. Okay, see, you need to understand that all the commands won't accept standard input. So this is standard input we are using, right? All the commands won't accept standard inputs. I'll show you the example also, but as of now, that's fine. So that is about standard input. So standard input is nothing but if you'd like to take the input from a file, instead of on the terminal the command line, we go with the standard inputs. The next one we have is standard output. So this particular standard output you might be okay. So you type ls enter. Where do you see the output is on the output screen? If you would like to redirect the output, we use this symbol. That's all. Use standard input. I use greater than symbol. So this particular I'm going to use out. So where is the output? There is no output, but where the output went is output went to a file called as out file. Output went to a file called as out file. Now this particular output is actually whatever you are seeing is of two types. Okay, so I'm giving LSS and I'm redirecting the output to out file. Now what is happening? The output is not going. It is still printing on the output screen. Okay, so what it is printing or why it is printing is nothing but the message whatever you have seen is not an output, it's an error. Okay, so the output comprises of two things. One is standard output and the other one is standard error. So standard output is denoted with one redirect symbol, whereas standard error is denoted with two redirect symbol. One redirect and two redirect. Okay, so if you specify one or you don't specify one, it is standard output only. Specify one or you don't specify one, it is standard output. So it is standard output. But if you would like to specifically send a error, you need to use two. Okay, so if I give LSS to redirect to ERR, you don't see any error now. Where the error went to? Error went to a file ERR. So assume if you have a requirement of getting the output and error to a different files, what I will do is, so ls command, let's take ls command. So script1.sh, so script.sh. So this ls command is going to give you both the things. One is output and one is error. So where the file exists, this is an output. Where the file doesn't exist, this is an error. If I would like to redirect the output to a different file, so I'll use one redirect, or if you don't use one also, that's fine. And if you would like to redirect error, to redirect to ERR. So if you see cat out, you'll see the line where the output is. So this line, and whereas cat ERR, so you'll see the error line, which this line is. If you would like to segregate the output to two different files. So sometimes you'll be having a requirement of putting both the output and error to a same file. So in that case, we'll just, instead of a numbers, we'll put an ampersand. Ampersand matches with, okay, so everything means 1 and 2 both. It matches with 1 and 2. So one, either it is 1 or it is 2, it goes to the same file. So if you use cat file, you can see both the output and error to the same file. You can see both the output and error to the same file. Okay, is that clear? Okay, assuming it is okay. So what I'll do is I'll just stop here. Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow from the same topic.